Welcome to an Alaskan grizzly bear float hunt. We get dropped off on a little tiny Alaskan bush plane with all of our gear packed up tight. We've got a 14-foot raft, all the oars, and all the food that we can handle for 10 days. We get the raft set up, as you're seeing right now, and we kind of roll. We have a spot, a certain location that we need to get to in the next day. Alaska law requires that you cannot hunt the same day you fly, so this is a great opportunity for us to cover some ground to get ready to hunt for the next morning. So we travel some miles on the river down to one of my favorite glassing spots, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. The weather's just perfect with us, and so me and the client Brendan are just rolling around, checking for sign obviously on the shores, and just enjoying this awesome Alaskan experience. There are no roads anywhere out here. We are on our own. We've got a sat phone. We've got an in-reach communication device with our GPS, and it's just us. It's the quintessential Alaskan hunt, whether you're hunting for moose, grizzly bear, caribou, black bear, even Dall sheep. Hunting from a raft is just such an awesome experience. We're not locked into one specific location. We can pick up and go at any time, and it's a great way to see the landscape. This was Brendan's first hunt in Alaska. He's originally from Wyoming, and so I thought it was a great opportunity for him to get a really good look at the full landscape and just the vastness Alaska offers. When you fly in on a float plane and you get dropped off, and the float plane takes back off, and it's just you and a raft, your guide, and a bunch of gear. It's a surreal experience, and that's what really draws me back. What really draws a lot of hunters back to Alaska for that next adventure is there's nowhere in North America that you really can get this remote. There are places in Canada, obviously. A lot of those are done on horseback, but here it's just us in the water. And Brendan wasn't much of a fisherman. He didn't really care, but there are just tons of salmon and trout and Arctic char, Dolly Varden, silver salmon and sockeye salmon and king salmon, all, well, 3 of the 5 species primarily. There's a few dog salmon in there, and every once in a while some pink salmon, but it's just a fantastic experience for hunting in general. When you're hunting grizzly, there's a lot of things you need to look for. Obviously salmon, obviously glassing points. What we're doing here is we're getting to a place that I know of. It's a high point that we can glass from. Now I have a set map and plan for this hunt. It is supposed to be a 10-day hunt, and so I've got areas that I've pre-scouted and areas that I have historically hunted, and a lot of the guides have historically hunted that we work with. We use a lot of past information from buddies and other guides and just acquire information along the way so that we have a plan for our clients to succeed. So the first spot I want to get to is just kind of a spot that I knew that we could hustle down the river and get to basically the first place to hunt. I want to spend 3 or 4 days here and then eventually move on to the next place and spend a couple days there, and so on and so forth. There's a few spots, and it's kind of like if you're seeing something at one spot, obviously you're going to stay there. If you're not seeing anything, you just move down to the next spot. Now this is a unique situation because oftentimes when you're hunting in Alaska, you're hunting in an area where it's pretty quick to get picked up, relatively speaking. Well, when you're on the river like this, there's only a couple pickup locations, and right now we are really on our own. There is no place to pick us up, so we are basically on a track, or our game plan is to get down to our glassing point, get down to place to hunt, set up camp, and establish some timing, because our next pickup location is roughly 50 river miles down this particular river. So you have to have everything figured out. You can't just say, oh, I need to go back to my truck and grab something. You got to have it all dialed in, and you got to be ready for anything that the water and that the Alaskan animals and the Alaskan weather will throw at you. And we're ready. Done this a few times and kind of have it dialed in. I'm not the best guy behind the oars, but I definitely can get us down and avoid a lot of damage, if you will. But yeah, we're just coasting around, enjoying the scenery. Just like I said again, fantastic weather. You can see it, clear skies. The sun is out. We've got great glassing ahead of us, and it's just a fantastic float. If you ever want to hunt Alaska,
right here, what does it look like?
Regardless of whether you shoot 5 or 6 different big game animals, this to me is the ultimate. I just enjoy this type of hunting so much because it's just three-dimensional. You get to see a lot of wildlife, and you get to see just some country that you would never ever see any other way. There's not a commercial boat that you can take down these little streams and rivers. You can't take a jet boat up many of these areas. So the only way to see these areas is get dropped off remotely by a bush plane and have a raft and have a plan set up for obviously safety and success. Safety is number one on these hunts. If we don't have all the proper safety gear and precautions, then it really, really can end up bad, whether it's not having Band-Aids or it's not having the right patch kits for the boat. I mean, there's a whole gamut of things that you have to be aware of that's a lot differently than when you're hunting out of one location, out of a camp or a lodge or something like that. We are literally pioneering this river with no backup. I mean, obviously we have backup. You know, we have our team and our pilots, and you know, we can make things happen. But generally speaking, you know, for the quality of the hunt, we're not planning on any other stops, any other, you know, plane flights. This is it. This is what we're going for, and we need to have everything together while we're doing this so it doesn't affect the hunt. You know, you have so much else to deal with on Alaska hunt, weather and animal movements, and there's a lot of variables that go into hunting Alaska, and hunting out of a float device, a raft, if you will, has a lot more variables, but it's just so fun. We just love it so much. We do this very same float to hunt moose, and moose are awesome because they're found next to these waters. We saw a bunch of moose on this particular trip, and we do a lot of moose hunting down here. So this is kind of a pre-moose hunt. So this particular hunt is an early grizzly, or what we call B&G bear hunt. So in this area, what's considered brown bears and grizzly bears is kind of a crossover area. In some spots they're considered grizzly, in some spots they're considered brown bears by Boone and Crockett, just depending on the relation to the coast and the mileage and stuff. So we are hunting in late August before the moose season opens, and it gives us a great chance to hunt bears and also scout for moose along the way. Now, this unit in Alaska actually is a 2 grizzly brown bear unit. So the game biologists really want you to take bears out of this particular area to get the caribou population up, to get the moose population back up. It is an area where they encourage taking and harvesting as many brown grizzly bears as you can. Obviously 2 per hunter, but as opposed to certain areas like Kodiak where you actually have to draw to get a bear tag, to get a brown bear grizzly bear tag in Kodiak. While this area, they want you to shoot a couple. The caribou populations need help here The moose populations need help, and we are doing our part to try to assist hunters in fulfilling their dream and also helping the caribou out. This is a real thing. We are connected to this environment. We love Alaska very much. We love these bears. We love the caribou and the moose, and we want to see every animal thrive so that we can enjoy Alaska and hunting Alaska for many generations to come. So here we go. We are on a float grizzly bear hunt, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will have some action here soon.
Thank you.
That was good. It's a beautiful bear.
Yeah.
Like I said,
We spotted the bear from our glassing point way far out this morning, like 2 miles, and then we just decided to kind of sit and not try to chase it. He was in a bad spot, so we're like, hey, maybe he'll come around this afternoon. So he came around later on in the afternoon. We saw him feeding on a hillside right behind us here, and we put on our hip waders, jumped in the river, and cruised down and made a stalk on him. It was awesome. We were 130 yards from him. Brendan made an awesome first shot with the 7 STW and totally rattled the bear, and it was perfect. Right behind the shoulder, torched it. We put a couple more in him just to make sure it's a good, clean death. And yeah, this is awesome brown bear hunting, grizzly bear hunting. Heck yeah, man. Brendan's rock and roll this morning, man. We had a good raft. We pulled the raft a little bit yesterday, and but man, it's fun when it comes together. And he's laying over there, so now we got to cross the river, but that's fine because we're still in our waders, and it's good times, man. It's really good times. Grizzly bear hunting is a lot of waiting and then a lot of action, and I'll tell you, it's worth the wait. It's pretty fun. So we're gonna go get the bear and make sure he's down for good, and then take some pics, and we'll be on the river again. All right, well, Brendan's here at his bear. He's a big old boar, like we thought, and heck yeah, we're here with somewhere in the middle of Alaska, floating around looking for bears. We saw this dude, and he fell into our lap and made a really good stalk on him, and Brendan smoked him with the first shot right behind the shoulder, and it was pretty much over from there. So having a good time out here. We are gonna hit the water again and keep floating, and just enjoy it out here. It's an awesome time to be here.
Beautiful.
This bear had a lot of berries he was eating and all kinds of stuff. So there's a bunch of fish too in the rivers right now, which makes it awesome. Just cool to look at. So yeah, this is grizzly bear hunting in Alaska on a float. Unknown river. Yeah, so we spent one day floating down to our first spot. Didn't have to go to any other spots. Found a really nice bear, a good boar with awesome blonde colored highlights. Really neat. He's got a beautiful coat. Really good sized bear, and we saw him from about 1,400 yards. Me and Brendan made a stalk. We actually put our waders on, walked down through the river, and stalked downriver so that we could avoid the wind. There's been a lot of wind kind of blowing up and down this canyon. So he was feeding on the hillside, and then we got to a place where we shot across the river at him at around 130 yards, and it was a done deal from there. Brendan made a really good shot, and we went from there. So again, this is grizzly bear hunting in Alaska. We're floating, which is just a fun way to hunt. The bears are on berries and they're on salmon. They're really active before they go into hibernation, and floating is just such a fun way to experience hunting in Alaska. So we're gonna keep floating on down, get picked up down the river a little bit, and head back to the lodge. But this is what it's all about. We're having a great time out here. Gonna skin him out, and then probably have a snack and hang out. All right, well, we're wading out the way we came. Put our waders on. We got the bear and all our stuff loaded up. And yeah, not a bad little walk back to camp. Just upriver a ways. Got a little bit of water, but better walking up the creeks and streams and rivers in your waders and wading boots and trying to fight the nasty alders. So just gonna take it easy and get back to camp and have a meal. Brendan learned how to boar. Kind of a funky shallow spot in here, huh? There is no better feeling than being on a successful hunt in Alaska with everything on the line, and far away from civilization, really remote wilderness, on a raft, on your own. Such an awesome experience. I let Brendan take control of the oars for a while, and he had a really, really good time, and it was a stiff learning curve, so I took over. There was some tight water, and it's all part of the fun and all part of the experience. Hunting grizzly bears or any big game animal in Alaska is just, it's so much more about killing an animal. Although that is a big part of it, and that gives us inspiration to travel to the farthest edges of the earth, to see different places, different countries, different animals. But it's so much more. It's about seeing everything in a combination of an experience that we call a hunt. And Brendan really took advantage of all of it. He really enjoyed all the scenery, all the fish, all the ducks, and all the unique times and places and adventures that we had on this particular trip. It always comes to an end, and we spent the next few days oaring out of here. We had to get that hide to the float plane pretty quickly, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to really see all the sights and sounds. If we were fishing or something like that, you know, I take guys on trips like this and we'll stop and we'll fish for a bunch of salmon. But in this particular case, because Brendan didn't have a whole lot of interest in actually catching a bunch of fish, we just said, hey, let's get this hide to the rendezvous point, which was at that point from where we killed the bear, was about 45 river miles down. So it took us a couple days and a lot of active oaring and some fun conversations. It's always fun when you don't have to worry about being quiet. You can hang out, oar loud, talk loud, laugh loud. Great time in Alaska. If you ever want to come and experience Alaska, whether it's the smallest trip, whether it's just a fishing trip from a lodge or even from the road system, it's a great place to start. And if you ever want to come out and hunt grizzly bear or hunt caribou or moose, Dall sheep or black bear, mountain goat, man, there's so many opportunities for you. And if you're interested in giving me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to help you out. There's a lot of really good Alaskan outfitters. I am an Alaskan outfitter, and I really, really enjoy my job. And I love seeing guys like Brendan fulfill one of their lifelong bucket list dream hunts. But there's a lot of other guys out there that provide really, really good hunts if we don't do them or we don't do a particular species. I'd love to recommend you, because our hunting community is small and the good guys are few and far between. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't the best footage of the bear getting taken. It's really, really hard when you're hunting dangerous game, especially when I don't have an extra guy, because I got to be back up with that bear being so close. And I can't focus on anything but my client's safety and the proper harvesting of a big, big bear. I hope all is well. Stay tuned to the next hunt. I'm coming out with a Dall sheep hunt here soon. And thanks again for watching, guys. If you want to see more, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. I really appreciate all the support, and good luck this fall.
All right, good view of this. Float trip done. Just got done with the grizzly bear float trip. We floated about 50 river miles, give or take. Shot a really nice bear and had an awesome float out. Saw tons of fish, tons of salmon, grayling, char, rainbows, and I saw a little bear, some moose on the way out. It was great, great float. And now we're just sitting here on the gravel bar waiting for our pickup. I got our float plane pilot gonna come in and swoop us up, and everything's broken down just like it went out. So we are sitting pretty good right now. We might go back to the lodge and have a decent meal and see what our next plans are. Love hunting Alaska. It's really fun.